I'm back home at the moment, and I always get a ton of questions from you guys, so I figured I'd do a quick Q&A video. Inspiration comes in all forms, and in order to kind of channel it and harness it, you have to become a master at the art of observation. And what I mean by this is we go through our everyday lives kind of with our head in our phones, or we're focused on tasks, we're inside our own heads. You have to become really good at getting outside of your own head and looking at things through the lens of an artist. If you want to be an artist, if you want to work in the creative arts, whether it's design, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's music production, you have to start looking at the world through the lens of an artist. And what I mean by this is, as you look at a clock, for instance, you can tell that it's designed in a certain way. Maybe they decided to use Roman numerals, maybe they decided to use dashes, maybe they didn't use any numbers at all. And then you can look at that thing and say, okay, I like that. And why do I like it? I like it because it's clean. I like it because it's maximalist. I like it because it's mid-century modern. I like it because of these factors. When you start to understand why you like something, you can start to dissect it and understand your own vision and what you want to contribute to the world. So for me personally, as I just said, my design inspiration comes from everywhere. I'm heavily inspired by Ralph Lauren. I'm heavily inspired by vintage J. Crew. I'm heavily inspired by streetwear from the 80s and the 90s. But then again, I love music from the 60s and 70s. So I love the fashion that was being occupied in the Laurel Canyon days, back when Joni Mitchell and Led Zeppelin and everybody was in Los Angeles making music. All that to say that my inspiration comes from everywhere. A great place to kind of channel it, and I know that everybody probably knows this that's watching it, is Pinterest. Don't be afraid to go on Pinterest. Everybody that I've met in the arts, whether it's big brands, little brands, super obscure creative artists, they all use Pinterest as a tool because that's what it's made for. A tool to curate and better identify what it is you want to make and understand the design aspects that go into it. So daily I'll go into Pinterest and I'm very protective of my algorithm. I think I have 4 different Pinterest accounts just because one of them is for the brand specifically, one of them is for website design, one of them is for, we're doing a backgammon board, so I want to keep them all separate. That might be a little bit silly just because you can make different boards and you can get those feeds for those boards. But for me, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been on Pinterest for so long, back before they had that feature, that's just still my workflow. But something that I think it's important to remember and think about as you're designing, I know a lot of you are creating fashion brands, is we've all felt very inspired by a Pinterest post or something that we see or a paparazzi photo. And you begin designing it and you make this really cool design that encapsulates the image that you just saw or the design you saw on Pinterest. I've done it a million times, but sometimes we get so far down the road that we forget to ask ourselves, like, is this really what we want to put in the world? Would we wear this? Is this something that is right for this time? Do we want to contribute this into the fashion world in this moment? Because a lot of times I have found a really cool design and I've made my own version of it. And then when I get done after hours of designing in Illustrator, I say to myself, this isn't something that I would even want to wear. So another aspect of observation and crafting your vision and aesthetic is being sure that in the frame of clothing design, when you're designing, when you're working up a CAD, when you're developing a sample, make sure that it's something that you want to wear, that it's something that you would wear out to the bars, to family dinner, with your friends, something that you would give to your friends and that they would want to wear. Because more often than not, it's something that's cool, but it may not resonate with you. And the idea might be flashy and you might get caught up in the glitz and glam of it, but it's not something that actually is applicable and something that you want to be a part of your brand. So when you find something that you're inspired by, take a moment, take a breath, look at it, really envision it, and be sure that it's something that you want to create. So one thing that I think is the common denominator among any successful businessman is having a vision. And I know that might sound cliche, but it is true. As I've gone out into the world, as I've started my own business, as I've seen other successful businessmen operate, you have to have a vision. Take Steve Jobs at Apple for an example. He didn't have a background in coding. He wasn't a hardware guy. He just had a vision that every person was gonna someday have a personal computer, laptop, phone in their hand, in their home, on their lap when they're working. He was a visionary in that he wanted to design it, he wanted to hire the right people, create the business behind it to then make that become a reality. Phil Knight at Nike was another person. He obviously had a background in track, but in his book he talks about how he had a vision that someday everybody in the world would be wearing tennis shoes. Even successful business owners, old people, young people, people working, doctors, everybody wearing sneakers. At the time that was crazy. People were wearing cobbled shoes, loafers, what have you. But alas, now everybody
wears tennis shoes. Now, how is this applicable to starting a fashion brand in 2025? Well, every brand out there has hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants. How are you gonna set yourself apart? How are you going to create something new that people are gonna be interested in and wanna buy? Take Elwood, for example. They have created a big business. So they distress their garments to make them look like you found them at a flea market. They pick Pantone colors that look like they've been washed 1,000 times. They pick silhouettes that are reminiscent of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. That is how they've entered the market, and that is why they're successful, because they have a niche, and their owners have a specific vision on why their brand is different, what sets them apart, and how they're going to give the consumer something that they can't get anywhere else. So finally, having a vision is the single most important thing behind maybe money that it takes to create a business today. If you don't have a vision, or if you're kind of hazy on your vision, I urge you guys to really get it solidified, really get it figured out, write it out, talk to family, talk to your mom, talk to your friends, do whatever you have to do to really tease out whatever this vision is. Because if you go to get an LLC, if you go to come to market and you don't have that clear vision, you're just gonna flounder and you're gonna have to figure it out down the road. So we already talked about the vision. If you have a vision, you can definitely go out and start a business, whether it's in the tech sector, the health sector, the fashion sector, whatever it is. If you have a vision, you can go start a business. Another thing that I've realized, and I've talked to with a lot of my close friends and mentors, is the only other thing that it takes to start a business is having balls. If you have a vision and then you can execute it, which takes balls, then you can create a business. Now, what I mean by this is starting a business is not easy. It may seem like today there's a million videos talking about why don't you just work for yourself? Why don't you go out there and create your own business? You can dictate your own hours and all these things. And all that is true, but these videos make it seem like it's a lot easier than it is. It's a lot of hard work. You gotta sink a lot of your own money and resources into this business, and you really don't know if it will succeed. But if you have a clear vision, that helps you at least sleep at night, knowing that you believe you'll succeed. And if you work hard enough at it, then it will become something that will become profitable and that you can live off of. But the reality is that a lot of people don't want to go out on that limb. They don't want to put themselves out there because it is daunting. It is dangerous. You're sinking so much time and effort into something, and if it doesn't work out, you can't really put it on your resume. You don't have any references because you're the reference. You're the person who started the business. And that's where I say it takes balls to start a business. It takes balls to sink your bank account and put it all into a business that hasn't even begun yet. It takes balls to go out there and tell your friends, hey, I quit my job. I'm going all in on this business. It takes balls to explain to your dad that, yes, I went and I graduated from college with a degree in finance, but I'm actually quitting my finance job because I'm passionate about an idea for an app, or I want to create a new streetwear brand that does shoes. And in the beginning, people will question you. People will tell you that it's a bad idea. I can't tell you how many people have told me that what I'm doing is an awful, awful idea and I should keep my job and just do the 9-to-5 rat race. But the funny thing is that as you start succeeding, as you start making money, as people start seeing your name out there, if they start seeing your ads being run, if they start seeing people wearing your products or using your app, then everybody's like, oh man, I'm so proud of you, you're doing a great job. So it takes balls to go out there and do that. It takes balls to look your parents in the eyes and tell them that you want to take your money and put it into something that may not return. It may not come back to you, but history rewards the brave. If you have that clear vision like we talked about, then it'll all be okay. This is not financial advice. You have to work very, very hard, but anybody out there can create a business that can become profitable. I fully believe that. Everybody has a skill set. You just have to practice it. It's a muscle and work at it. Finally, what I'll say is it's not easy to start a business. It is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hours. I can't tell you how many times I'm up late at night, emailing people, checking things off a checklist, making sure things are going according to plan, packaging orders, editing these vlogs. It's a full-time job, and yeah, I'm excited about the fact that I can set my own hours and be my own boss, but I also look at my friends who get off at 5 p.m. and they're done, and they have the day and they have the weekend to just relax. Obviously, I keep motivating myself by telling myself that if I put in the hard work now, in 5, 10, 15 years, then I can take most days off. But for now, I have to keep grinding. And if you're out there doing the same thing, just know that and know that we're in it together. And if you have any questions, as always, reach out to me. I get this question a lot, and the answer is pretty simple. I stack my pennies. A long time ago, I would get $1 in, I'd spend $1 out. I think that's how a lot of America operates. And then I kind of became wise to the idea of saving. Obviously, this is remedial. You probably all watching this video know that you should be saving, but what I found is that when I decided to start this business, it became easier to save. Because in my mind, I was saving to spend. I knew I was gonna be spending that money on this business, and that really excited me. That really excited me because I wanted to see this thing come into fruition so badly that I would save my money. I would eat less meals. I would bike around town instead of using my car and paying for gas, just because I could save my money and put it into this business. Another thing that has helped me fund this is after I initially invested in my business, that dollar amount was gone. I sent it out the door. I saved up for a long time. And this took months. I mean, this is not something that is a quick fix. I think today a lot of people are instant gratification all the time. But the reality is that I was working for the last year and a half, saving up, stashing money off to the side to prepare for this. And it was really the last 6 or 7 months where I was able to earn a lot of cash in a job. I got a high-paying opportunity, where I was then able to really start setting aside money. And after that job, I said to myself, okay, I can actually enter and start this business now. Something that is a cardinal rule as you're starting out with your business, as you begin making money, as you invest in product and then you drop it and you make money back, that money back should be reinvested into your business. Until you are profitable, until you have a cash flow where you're actually getting a lot of money in and you're able to cover your operating expenses, your Shopify plan, any type of expenses that can go into building this business, once you have an excess of that, a surplus of that, then you can think about buying a watch. Then you can think about paying your rent. Then you can think about buying those Rick Owens shoes that you want or whatever you want to spend your money on. But so many times I see people start a business, let's say they put $5,000 into their business, then they drop their clothing, they get $6,000, $7,000 back. Well, guess what? That's out the door, they're spending that. No. You should be investing that back into your business. It should never even see your personal account. It should just enter into your business banking account, and that's that. This creates a cycle of a self-sustaining business, which then will lead you into becoming a profitable business. A lot of people talk about just break even. If you can break even in your first year, which is next to impossible, but if you can do it in the clothing sector, you are winning. If you can make your money back and you haven't lost any money, that is a massive, massive win. Because then you can take that money that you've made back, put it back in the business, and keep the wheel moving, keep the machine grinding. But the simple fact of the matter is, it's not easy. I still do odd jobs on the side just so that I can have more money to put into this business. But the bottom line is that it's not easy. You have to save your money if you want to invest it. Unless you want to go out there and raise money, if people are willing to give you money, then you have to give up equity and it's no longer just your business, which I didn't do. This is all self-funded. There's a lot of ways to make money. And until you've exhausted every way to make money, until you've exhausted every AI outcome, until you've exhausted every little niche market of drop shipping or whatever you can do to maybe make a little bit of cash on the side, don't give up on your dream. Because there's always something that can be done. There's always money that can be put in the business. There's a lot of hours in the day. And a couple hours could make a difference. You could make $100 a day. And after 10 days, it's $1,000. And then before you know it, you're off to the races. So always be looking for ways to make money, and if you are making any type of money from your business, you should be investing it right back into the business. Don't go out buying random stuff, put it right back into the business because that's what's important. Okay, now a lot of you guys had questions about social media. Social media is an extremely useful tool when creating your business today. 2 questions that I got asked were, how do you have time for all the social channels? And the second one was, how do you get started in creating your social channels? Getting started in creating your social channels is a lot like starting the business. Decide what you want your channel to be about. Obviously, if you're starting a clothing brand and we're talking about personal branding, if you're the owner of the brand and you want to be making content as a founder of the brand, you have to go out and find some examples of people who are doing it well, people that you like, people that you kind of want to emulate. Not rip off, but people that you want to emulate. Ideas that they have made, ideas that they have filmed, where you're like, I like this, but I want to add my own spin to it. Don't find a million and try to emulate all of them. Find 3 channels that you really like and kind of start to copy, emulate, put a spin on their content, do it your own way, and just create content. One tip that I give to people is that if you're really shy and you don't want to do it, start on TikTok, don't attach your phone number to it, create an email address, make it not your name, and just start making content. Because if you're making good content, you're gonna start getting following and getting traction, and you're gonna start getting likes, and then you can switch your name over, make it to your real name, and then that way you'll already have a following, and then if your friends find it, they'll be like, oh, well, he's already kind of doing his thing, so I can't really tease him or make fun of him. Because I do get that. I do get that you don't want to absolutely nuke all your social credibility by starting this channel. I would say to that, you shouldn't care. We're all adults and you're trying to make money and build a business. But if it is that big of an obstacle for you, then yeah, just start a different channel. Don't attach your name to it. Don't attach your phone number to it. Start to post content. Do whatever you have to do just to get going. Because once you get going, it's easy. And then just make good, clean content and be consistent. There's a million videos talking about this. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but as long as you're making good content and you're being consistent, posting 2-3 times a week, you're gonna start to get traction. I mean, unless you wanna be an influencer, I would say just post moderately and make sure that when you're posting, it's good stuff. Don't spam the algorithm. Don't post 10 times a day. Just post stuff that you know your followers are gonna see, stuff that's clean, stuff that makes you look the way that you wanna look. Exemplify the examples of the people that have come before you, the people that you're inspired by, and then just go out and do it, and you'll get traction before you know it. Secondly, talking about the time that it takes to put into social media. I think a lot of times we think that, oh, these influencers have the easiest job in the world. These content creators, they don't actually have a real job. They can just go out there, make videos, and make a couple $100,000. In some cases, that's true, but in most cases, it takes a tremendous amount of work. You guys don't realize how many times you have to shoot the video, edit it, take photos. They always have to be looking through the lens of creating content in that moment, which I personally don't like. I like to live in the moment and sometimes experience things as they're supposed to be experienced. I don't want to have to hold up my phone or ask my friend to take a picture. Nonetheless, it is something that you have to do if you want to grow your channel. So pick your moments. I'm glad that you think that I have the time to make all of these channels pop, because I don't. I need to definitely be doing more on TikTok and more on Instagram. YouTube is really the only platform that I prioritize, so I need to do a better job of that. It's just a full-time job. You have to be, creating content every day. How do you have the time to do it? I would say you have to be very organized. I would create a calendar, do whatever you have to do, go to Google Calendar and literally plot in on today, I'm going to do a UGC video. Tomorrow I'm gonna do an outfit video. On Thursday I'm gonna do a get ready with me video, and then just get into that rhythm of weekly making it. And then at nighttime, instead of watching TV or instead of doom scrolling, you're gonna have to edit, because these videos, they don't just make themselves. You do have to edit them, and they do take a little bit of time to edit. So get a new system, get a new routine, and once you incorporate it in your routine, after a few weeks, you'll become used to it, and creating content will become much easier. So entering into the field, I would just say create content, have a backlog of content. Don't just be making and posting every day. If you can get yourself like a week back where you have content you're posting from last week, that helps, because if you wake up sick or if your dog has to go to the vet, you can just say, okay, I already have content. I don't need to stress and really focused on posting content today. I kind of have some that I can lean on. So yeah, social media is a fantastic tool. It's getting oversaturated, so use it while we still can, and while people are still listening to what you have to say on the social media channels. Go out there, make content. Who gives a fuck what other people are gonna say? Your friends might tease you, but if they understand that you're making a business, if they understand the end goal, then they shouldn't tease you, or at least it's all in good fun. So if you're creating content, go out there and just get it done. This is a question that I actually feel very passionate about. When we talk about business strategy, it is something that's important, but it is also something that people get caught up on constantly. When you're creating a business, a lot of people want to sit, contemplate, figure out every possible thing, and then enter market. But as you sit and contemplate and figure out exactly what you want to do, two things happen. Either you never actually get off the ground, you never get started, or you psych yourself out because of all the pessimistic things that you can think of are coming to mind when you're doing all of this planning. Now, when doing a fashion brand, obviously you have to have a strategy. Like I talked about, I like to call it more of a vision, where you know what you want to enter the market with, and then you hire some people or you consult with some people who can help you come to market with that product. What that might look like is a marketing strategist, a good photographer who really knows their stuff and has experience in helping brands launch, or a consultant. I don't like using consultants. I don't recommend using consultants, but you can find one on Upwork. It's a person to basically bounce ideas off of, and they tell you whether they think it's a good idea, bad idea, and sometimes they bring ideas to the table. My strategy, or lack thereof, was I started with hats. It was something that I was passionate about, something that I felt that I wanted in my wardrobe, and there was a market gap for it because there weren't any brands doing cool, interesting designs on vintage silhouettes, but making them new. So that's what I entered with. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't do that again. What I found is that hats are probably one of the most polarizing pieces of a person's wardrobe. As I'm sure everybody watching this video knows, when you find a hat that you like, that fits you the right way, which is not easy to do unless you're truly a hat person, you just wear it till the wheels fall off. It is very hard to get people to want to buy a hat online that they can't even try on first. But alas, I came to market with it, it worked out, now I'm doing clothing, which was always the end goal, but If I look back and did it again, I don't know if I would start with hats. I learned a ton, and I feel better equipped now to sell clothing because I know that hats are much harder to sell than clothing. So what I would say is sit down, figure out your strategy, roadmap it, get in an Excel spreadsheet, really talk about what you want to do, how you're going to accomplish it, and necessary steps to actually accomplishing that goal. I don't want you to sit down and think about, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what if. Don't play the what if game. Just sit down, set where you are now and where you want to be, and connect the boxes in between that will bridge the gap to where you want to be. Once you do that, that's the roadmap. You'll be able to go out there and execute the business plan. All right, I've been yapping for long enough, so I figured I'd just go through and answer a couple of the questions quickly. One of them is, have you used Pietra? For those of you that don't know, Pietra is essentially a brand launching house that will help you launch your brand because they have manufacturing partners and they have people that will help you with your marketing and your branding. I have not used Pietra. I actually have a lot of good friends who work for Pietra, and I know people who do use Pietra. I think they're a great resource. If you're starting out and you don't know where to turn, if you're having trouble finding manufacturing partners, a ton of people reach out to me and ask me my manufacturing partners. Go to Pietra, they have a Rolodex. You can start to build relationships with manufacturers and figure that out. So that's a great resource, but I personally do not use them. Somebody asked about the pre-order method versus the bulk and sell method. I prefer to keep inventory because you can do things like gifting. Pre-ordering, to me, a brand built on pre-ordering, there's a lot of successful brands that do it, but I just feel like it's like a cheaper alternative. It doesn't feel like you're actually creating something. Just like selling an idea. When you have the actual products and you can give them to people and ship out your own orders, you're not drop shipping. It just feels to me like that is your business and you're creating something and you're in control of it. The pre-order method just isn't something that resonates with me, but if you don't have the funds to buy inventory, by all means, do whatever you have to do to get the job done and start your pre-order business. Do I accept designs sent to me? I've had people reach out to me about designs and designing for me. What I would tell all young people out there is, if you're a hungry creative and you want work, yeah, send me stuff. Add a watermark to it or whatever to protect your designs, but if you want to work in the arts, you have to kind of get some respect first and get some notoriety, and a great way to do it is by sending people that you look up to or sending people that you want to work with your stuff. I do all the designing myself, so I have a very specific vision, but I would love it if somebody was a really great designer and could help take some of that workload off of me, even if it's just tech design or helping with CADs or even creating logos. So if you have design ideas, you can email them to me, you can DM them to me. Find a way to get in touch with me, but yes, I haven't accepted any design ideas, but I would love to take a look at anything you guys are working on. Somebody asked me if they could start their brand this fall. I don't see why not. I think anybody telling you that you can't start a brand is lying to you. It depends on how much money you have, but in all honesty, you can start a brand with $1,000. So if you can save up and spend $1,000 on a brand, then you can have your own clothing business and you can launch your own thing. They talked about coming out in the fall. It's August right now, so I would assume that you would have to probably order blanks and then print on them, but you can still do things like tagging and bagging to make it look super cut and sew. But if you were talking about manufacturing clothing, even stateside or overseas, I would say it's too late. You probably have to think about that at an absolute minimum 4 months ahead of time. And that's probably if you already have relationships with the manufacturing partners. So if you're gonna do cut and sew, it's too late, but there's no reason why you can't order wholesale blanks from a brand like Blanks by 13 or Elwood and then print on them and then come out with clothing in the fall. Somebody asked when we're gonna see clothing. The official drop date is the first week of October. I'm working with my team right now to decide the exact day, but we have a shoot coming up. All the clothing is on the water right now, so we will have it in our hands soon. And I can't wait to share with you guys because it's the start of something very exciting for me, and we're already working in December, and it's not just gonna be hoodies and t-shirts and sweatpants in December. We're gonna come out with like full wardrobe items, so I cannot wait. But stay tuned, follow me on Instagram, keep watching this channel. Follow Winslow LA on social channels and you'll start to see some of that stuff teased out. Somebody asked about building a community within the design brand space. It's tough. I live in LA, so it's a little bit easier. If you're in New York City, it's probably easy as well. But if you're in the Midwest, I grew up in the Midwest, I'm actually in Ohio right now. It is tough to find people who are doing the same thing that you are. What I can tell you and what I advise everybody who comes to me for advice is build in public.
We talked about it in an earlier question. If you are trying to do something, whether it's creative or technology or whatever sector you're working in, you should be making content about it. You should be posting TikTok about it, Instagram about it, talking to friends and family about it. Because manifestation becomes a little bit, woo-woo to me, but when you're talking about just manifesting it in your day-to-day life and talking about it with people, how are people gonna know what you wanna do, or how are people gonna connect to your network if you don't even talk about it? If you just are expecting people to know that you're a designer because of the way that you dress or the way that you look, then that's never gonna happen. You should be going out, having conversations, go to Reddit, go to Telegram, go on YouTube, comment on people, DM people on Instagram. All of you guys found me somehow. Connect with me. Like if you're trying to find like-minded creatives, you're trying to build a community around whatever sector you're working in, just post content about it and engage in the community. The community is not gonna come to you. The horses are not coming. You have to go out and seek it out and find it. So they're out there. There's a ton of people out there. As I've made this YouTube channel, you guys have all subscribed and you watch my videos, I am dumbfounded with how much interest there is in what I'm doing. So if you do the same thing will happen. And I hope that you do. I hope nothing but the best for you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it and you want me to do more of these and you have more questions for me, please let me know. I did this question on a poll on my Instagram. So those of you who reach out to my Instagram, that's how I did this question and answer. Follow me on Instagram and we'll do another one soon. Let me know what you guys think. And if you have any other questions, as always, God bless and good luck to whatever you're starting. And thank you guys for watching.